Taylor is, if you look at the picture there, see the little short guy? That's Taylor. Taylor came on our very first ever CTO outing. Taylor went on our very first ever CTO mission trip. That's him drinking out of a coconut in that village, Wahhabispa, that had never been visited by anybody from outside the region. Taylor, let's see, what else? First Apprentice guide in CTO in our leadership program. He's been on staff of our summer camps for the last 3 summers, and you can see that Taylor's become a young man in CTO. Get choked up a little bit. I feel like Greg up here. Taylor's been a big part of CTO, and it's humbling for me to look at these pictures and realize that what God has been doing through CTO has been a big part of Taylor's life. Like I said, I wish we could take credit for the fruit we produce. We just plant the seeds. That's the easy part. But it's amazing what God can do. And when I say it's amazing what God can do with that, I'd like to introduce Taylor Barr.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Mike, for allowing me to share what God's done in my life through CTO and through Greg Flores. Just a little over a week ago, I was wanting to go dove hunting, and it was just before opening day of Central Zone. And not having any place to go, I picked up the phone, made a couple phone calls, and got a hold of Greg's Ranger Lieutenant Kevin Potts. He's back there in the back, and he said, well, actually, I was looking for a day hunt, $35, $40 to go shoot some birds that afternoon. And sure enough, he said, yeah, me and my boy KJ, we're going out that day. You can hop in the truck with us if you want. And I thought, well, that works too. I mean, I'll go do that. And so he was nice enough to let me go. And after I got off the phone with him, I realized how blessed I was that I had somebody I could call and have a connection to go hunting with. And that wouldn't have been the case 4 years ago. I don't come from a family of generational hunters and stuff. When it comes to the outdoors, I'm pretty sure I'm the most avid hunter and fisherman in the family. So that's made it difficult having to depend on friendships and invitations only to go hunting. And I think that's what originally attracted me to Cross Trail Outfitters when I met Mike beforehand in 8th grade, and it was the coolest thing in the world that there was somebody who wanted to take me hunting and fishing when I'm not really part of his family. I mean, it wasn't his ranch, but it was also cool that there were men out there that were willing to open up their ranch to allow me to come shoot animals I'd never even heard of before. And, I mean, that's what originally got me into it. And after the first outing or two, I started to realize there's a lot more to it than just the hunting and the fishing aspect of it. There's a deeper side, and the questions of the day were starting off back then pretty simple, but how did you see God's hand today? And it wasn't long after that where I couldn't not see God's hand. It was everywhere, even when I wasn't outdoors. And as time progressed, so did the questions, and I started outlining what kind of man I wanted to be, not just skills and stuff, but more of spiritual gifts and character traits and stuff like that. And one thing I didn't expect when I first got involved was the relationships that I was going to build. And that's probably one of the things that's impacted my life the most. And pretty soon I found out I had a new motive to go on these outings. It wasn't just about the hunting and the fishing. I also wanted to cultivate these relationships that had begun, and surrounding myself with godly men was the best way I knew how to do it. And I started asking Greg if I could go help him out on a first hunt, and it wasn't because I was so excited to go clean somebody else's animal. It was just because I wanted to, end up on that 3 a.m. truck ride or sitting around another campfire with one of them. And over the years, I've noticed that, the last 4 years, I've noticed that one relationship that's impacted me the most is my relationship with Greg Flores. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and I can't really go into all the reasons why I appreciate him and who he is. That'd be sort of like going to the shops at Lock and Terror with a girl. It might take all day if I end up doing that. So I don't really have time for all the reasons, but one of the one of the most impactful things that I've learned from him is not the things that he sits down and teaches me, but the way he leads by example. He doesn't, I don't know why, but seeing him, the old saying, practice what you preach. I've never seen Greg have to practice what he preaches. He does it right off the bat to begin with. And I've learned so much about having the joy of the Lord and everything, just seeing the way he interacts in Walmart with the people across the counter. And just his everyday life, not just what he does around the youth. Because in that relationship, I found out that he really is my best friend. He's the best friend that I have. I don't necessarily, not that we're together every day like my friends in high school were. And it's kind of funny because I've started to notice with some of the youth, he's their best friend too. They just don't know it yet. They may not be sitting up till 4 a.m. playing video games and eating lunch with them every day at school, but I know for a fact that a lot of their friends, including some of mine, were not trying to further their relationship with God through their relationship with Him. And so that's just something I've observed over the past couple years and really started to realize. And one thing that like I said, I don't have time to go into everything, but one thing I know for sure is that if my relationship with Greg Flores has made my relationship with God that much stronger, then I don't know anybody else I would call my best friend other than the man who came down here and died for my sins to begin with, and that would be Jesus Christ Himself. Amen. And that's all I have to say about that.